All right, so let's jump right in. Have you ever read something that just makes you stop and think, wait a second, what does that mean? Well, the Quran has this one fascinating verse that does exactly that. It gives a command that seems to ask people for something they already have. And this little puzzle really challenges how we think about a huge central concept. And it's a real head scratcher. I mean, imagine this. The verse speaks to a group of people and it says, hey, you, who have this thing called Iman. And then, in the very next breath, it tells them to get Iman. So, what's going on? How are we supposed to make sense of that? So, here's the verse itself. It's from Surah An-Nisa, and it says, O you who have attained Iman, attain Iman. See what I mean? It really feels like a loop, almost a contradiction, right? And you can bet this has sparked centuries of discussion among scholars trying to figure it out.
Okay, so what are the standard explanations? How have people traditionally tried to solve this paradox? Let's take a look. Well, there are a few common ideas. One is that it's not about getting something new, but about renewing or strengthening what you've already got. Deepening your commitment. Another really popular theory is that this verse isn't for just anyone. It's specifically for the people of the book, Jews and Christians, telling them to sort of expand what they have to include the final message.
And those explanations make a certain kind of sense, right? But do they really solve the puzzle completely? When you look closer, especially at that people of the book idea, you start to see a little problem.
Yeah. See, here's the snag. The verse doesn't just say attain Iman in God and his messenger. It also says to have Iman in the scriptures that came before. But wait a minute, the people of the book, by definition, already have Iman in their own scriptures like the Torah and the Gospel. So the command is telling them to do something they are already doing. The puzzle is still there, which kind of suggests that maybe, just maybe, we're looking at the whole thing from the wrong angle.
And this is where things get really interesting. There's another way to look at this, proposed by Khaled al-Sayed Hassan, that offers a totally different solution. It all comes down to a simple but powerful question. What if Iman doesn't mean what we've always thought it means? Instead of being an internal state, like a feeling or a conviction, what if Iman is an action, something you do outwardly, specifically the act of granting security to other people? Think about that for a second. It's not something you have inside you, it's something you actively give to the world. And if that's what Iman is, then a mu'min isn't just a person with a particular conviction. No, a mu'min is the doer of the action. They are the grantor of security. They're the one actively creating that environment of safety and trust for others. And wow, that just completely changes the game, doesn't it?
Okay, so let's take this new definition, this new lens, and go back to that original verse. Let's see if this key unlocks the puzzle.
And when you look at it this way, suddenly the contradiction just melts away. Let's break it down. The first part, O you who have attained Iman, isn't just talking to a specific religious group. It's talking to anyone who grants security to others through worldly means, through laws, ethical codes, social norms. Then comes the command, attain Iman in God. This is the next step. It's an instruction to take that security you're already providing and anchor it, ground it in something higher, and a sacred divine foundation. So you see, it's not a repetitive command at all. It's a call to elevate, to transform. It's saying, you're already doing a good thing by creating a secure society with your human systems. Now, take it to the next level. Make that security sacred. Make it unshakable by connecting it to the divine. And this isn't just a one-off idea that works for a single verse. There's another passage, this time in Surah Al-Hadid, that actually builds on this very same concept and even lays out a system of rewards for it. Check out the structure here. It's almost identical. It starts the same way, O you who have attained Iman, and then follows it up with another command to attain Iman in his messenger. And get this, look at the payoff it describes. Not one, but 2 shares of mercy, plus a guiding light to walk by. This reading, which comes from the work of Khaled al-Sayed Hassan, reveals this really beautiful 2-step system. Step 1. Just by granting security to others using worldly systems, being a good citizen, creating a safe community, you earn a share of God's mercy. That's huge. But then there's step 2. When you take that same action and consciously ground it in the divine, you get a second share of mercy plus that guiding light. It's an upgrade. And this is such a powerful idea, right?
The big takeaway here is that the simple act of making your neighbor feel safe, regardless of their background or creed, is in itself a valuable, virtuous act that gets rewarded. It basically gives spiritual weight to what we might just call basic human decency or civic duty. So that's what I want to leave you with. If we start to see Iman not as a private internal feeling, but as a public, active deed, the act of granting security, how does that completely change how we see our communities? How does it change how we interact with each other and how we understand our own purpose in the world?